The ultimate successful car salesperson is sitting at his desk. He's not taking ups and he's looking out the window, watching everybody else up his customers who are going, yeah, I'm here to see Josh. Is Josh here? Like we talked on Facebook. And then he knows he has succeeded because he's driving all of his own traffic and he's not having to chase the up bus.
Ever wonder how a tweet, a post, or even a story can transform the way cars are sold today? Well, welcome into Facts Not Feelings. I am your host, Brooke Furniss, and today we are diving into the power of organic social media in revolutionizing automotive sales. Joining us is the one and only social media strategist, Robin Wilson, who is, I try to list all of her titles here. Stay with me because they are kind of long here. She's the founder of SCP Agency, Epic BDC, Social Grenade, and pretty much is taking over the world at this point. Like, let's be honest. And when she's here, we're going to decode the do's, the don'ts of social media for the automotive salespeople. Stay tuned as we uncover the platforms that drive results, the pitfalls to avoid, and the future trends that will reshape automotive. Robin, welcome into the show. I cannot wait right now to dive into this with you.
Thank you. I'm always excited to talk about social and always happy to hang out with you.
It's like, a double, it's like the best of both worlds. Going to talk a little social, get to hang out with you for a hot minute. Yeah, there's no downside here.
No, not at all.
Awesome. We'll just jump right into this. Now, social media, man, it is a vast, vast landscape. What platforms do you find most effective for the automotive salesperson, and how should they tailor their content for each platform?
Yeah, so I think I think a lot of people want to say like, oh, Facebook is for older people or anything like that, and it did age up as it came out. It aged up just as TikTok has aged up. Everything has. However, for being able to capture and have conversations, I think that Facebook is still the most relevant. It has the most followers. People are still there, and they are still communicating back and forth on Facebook. So if I were to pick one and go number one, number one would always be Facebook for me.
I agree with that. Like, and to your point, like you hear so often it's an older platform and then it starts dating. I think you and I were like, whoa, we're still on it. But I look at the ROI, and statistically, the ROI on Facebook is so much better, especially in our industry, than any other platform. Now, if you're someone that's just going viral all the time, that's a little bit different. For the normal person and the average dealership, like it's Facebook just seems to be the bread and butter, like for sure, 100%. I 100% agree with that.
Well, and we got to talk about like we got to realize that people have to understand that it's not just always about lead gen. That social
Mhm.
media is about being social, right? Nobody goes there and goes, "Hey, I think I'm going to go to social media today and see if I can find a car salesperson." That just
Yes.
doesn't happen. Like they're not out there looking for you. So they're being entertained by something. Something catches their attention. It's all about brand imaging, top of mind awareness. All of those things are what keep people aware of who you are and what you do.
Amen to that. And it's, I joke about all the time and like, you're more than a lease special. Like, stop. If I did a presentation recently and I was like, okay, who in here is actually going to fall in themselves? I guarantee you're not going to, because the majority of dealerships get so stuck into, well, whatever the OEM is pushing down us, then what we're going to do that. Oh, well, we have this great 0%. Okay, but would you go follow that? Because I know I'm not going to. I will because you're a client of mine, but that's probably the only reason why. Like, let's be honest here. So,
That's a true story, and they don't understand that if you're taking the same things that you're doing on TV and radio and in print and trying to move it to social, it's not going to work for you. Like that's not the communication process that we have on social. So just because we're old school doing things this way, you can. I mean, you could spend millions of dollars on an ad campaign, but if you're trying to move it over to social, you need to reformat all of that. It has to be entertaining. It has to not look like a commercial. I mean, I think some of the most interesting videos I stop on that are literally sponsored ads are some dude sitting in a car and he's got his phone up and he's recording himself doing this, whatever, right? And then it was organic content probably that had some good legs on it. And they went, great. Let's put some legs on this and push it out there further.
yeah, it's so crazy as you see this switch. When we've seen it for a while now, but you just talked on that whole very, very organic that we get so caught up that it needs to look so pretty, it needs to be 8K or 14, whatever it is now. When realistically, how many of us sit and watch the person? Like, I know there's people I follow that are just freaking hilarious, and it's
Mhm,
just them with their like I can literally see in the reflection. It's just them
mhm.
holding the camera. And
Right.
so really understanding, okay, how we don't need all that fancy equipment and just be yourself. And I can't remember the stat right now, but I think it was Gen Z. It might have been millennials. Millennials get blamed for everything, so I might blame the millennials at this point. But just that exactly what you said is that they expect the different content. Whatever's flowing on TV or streaming, it better be different on the other platforms. So I'm glad that you brought that up there, Robin. Thank you, appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. All right, so we're talking about social media, right? And we're looking at how visual everything is, and everything has changed, reels and everything like that. But considering the visual nature of car sales, how can automotive salespeople leverage platforms like Instagram, maybe obviously Facebook? You've got TikTok, you got the Pinterest, all these different things to showcase their inventory in a way that captivates and engages potential buyers.
So there's a lot of different ways they can, but you have to remember too that most of the time that people are on social media, and we talk about this, and you probably talk about this too when you're talking about lead gen, right? So that guy that stops on that bright shiny red Ford F-150, and he's like, "I love this truck, it's beautiful," right? By the time he gets to the dealership and you actually find out what his wants and needs are, what he actually needs to haul his family around, that shiny Ford F-150 is generally not it. He's popping into an SUV somewhere. So what stops them is not necessarily what they want. So don't get stuck on that. So providing that content, one of the things, first of all, just to go back to salespeople, all I'm not going to generalize them. I'm not going to generalize them. I'm not going to generalize them. Salespeople sometimes get stuck on only posting inventory images and sold customers, right? And that's
Yeah.
just like that. That's they're stuck. They just stuck doing that. And so if you're doing that like every other guy, every other girl that is out there selling vehicles, then you're going to be screwed anyways. One of the things that I love to do is tie the vehicle to the community. So this is one of my little magic tricks that we do whenever we're handling organic social for our dealerships is we will go on site, we will take that vehicle and we'll find all of the landmarks in town that are just Fort Wayne, Indiana, right? It's Fort
Mhm.
Wayne, Indiana. We all know that's Fort Wayne, Indiana. That's where that is. And we're taking pictures of those vehicles around those landmarks, right? So we're tying the vehicle to the community instead of it being some OEM manufactured, pristine, perfect, snowy mountain, whatever. So those are some things that they can do. Also, think about your camera angles, low and get that right front corner panel right there, and just I mean, make it a sexy photo, right? Like if you're just doing, here is a Nissan Versa, whatever, a Nissan Sentra. You have to give them something that makes this car look desirable. So if you're going to be doing photography for your social media and your car salesperson, think about study it and go, what car images stop me from scrolling, and then duplicate that.
And it's so true, and we get caught up in I know I follow, like, I don't know how many different people on how to just take photos with your iPhone because you think that you need this massive, $4,000 camera. I'm like, "Man, these iPhones are incredible." Obviously, I used to be a Samsung, so the Samsung, camera was even more incredible. But
Right.
all these regardless, your camera phone is just it has so much potential, but knowing how and maybe you might not be able to see the angles, and that's I understand that sometimes you don't have the photography eye, then hire someone that does. Like
Hmm.
it's there, even like these big companies, and it's just the same. Look at this, and this, and this. It's like, yeah, but is that really going to make me stop? Because when that something pops, you're like, oh, that's pretty kick ass. I want to see more about that, and then you get engaged, and it takes you down a rabbit hole of, oh, maybe I will buy from them. So I that is a very, very big one. And go back to like saying like, hey, what is going to make me stop? And you brought up the OEM portion, so I'm just going to touch that for a hot second. If you're someone that's like, hey, I only do what the OEM tells me to do. Okay, I get that. Understand when you are only using the OEM photos or only using what OEM says to use this portal and it's going to push to my 17 different platforms. So is every
Yep.
one of your competitors are getting the exact same thing. I've done more freaking like presentations on this where I've taken 12 dealerships. They have the exact same photo, the same verbiage. The only thing that's different is maybe the name. I was like, do you understand that not only does this look like shit, like let's be honest, it does because everybody has it. You're
Yep.
not setting yourself apart. Is that the algorithm and Google's not going to like that because it's copied content. So branch out, do something fun. Social is social. Like you're not go there to say, hey, sell, 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 sell. Have some fun with them. I mean, there's so many great dealerships out there that are doing this right now. Like, hey, we all know that shoes and kicks are a big thing. So have a kicks Friday. There's so many different things to engage and just have fun that are, and I know we brought up a few times at Mohawk. I mean, Mohawk, it's fun. I mean, come on, who doesn't wanna watch The Office in a dealership world? Like, it's freaking hilarious. So, I'm glad that you very much brought that up there.
Well, it's funny because I'm doing a training next month for a dealership in Michigan, for a dealer group in Michigan. They have like 65 salespeople. And so one of their salespeople was smart enough to reach out to me in advance and said, "Hey, I know you're training us next month, and I would like you to look over my social media ahead of time. Will you?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So I went and looked at he's using a business page for himself. But when I, and he's getting zero engagement there. And when I go look at his profile, he's getting a lot more engagement on his profile. Now, in the past, because I've been training on this on salespeople social for years, and I did it in the past because I was always about protecting the dealer, right? And I didn't want to help this guy build his page really good, and then he leaves the Kia store and goes to the Toyota store and takes all these people with him, And so I would always build their Facebook pages under the mothership, right under the main one, and I would make them use business pages, and it was way too difficult for them. Like it was way too difficult for them to remember to go to their business page instead of their profile, right? And so, luckily, in the past year or so, Facebook has moved it so that your profile can be a professional account, right? And so, if you will change to professional mode on your Facebook profile, you can not only measure your analytics, but now you can boost post, right? You can push your stuff out to your followers and get into more news feeds. Like if you want to spend $5 on that, Jeep Grand Wagoneer, image that you pushed out there, and you want to push, then you can now on your profile, which is a big, huge change, right?
Right.
But so I went and looked at his profile, and it was performing a ton better because that's where all of his friends and family live. They all live right there. They don't live on his business page. And one of the things I found on his profile was that he had bought this beautiful pair of pink loafers for the month of October to
Nice.
wear, right, for breast cancer awareness. And I'm like, and so I went because he'd messaged me on LinkedIn. And so I went back to LinkedIn and I'm like, "Are you wearing these shoes every day?" And he goes, "Yeah, for breast cancer awareness." And I'm like, "I don't see any posts about that. Other than the first one that you made in September saying, 'Here's my shoes I'm going to wear in October.' I should be seeing your shoes every day. Everything that you're posting every day should have something, even the tip of your shoe in there, whatever it is. Work that in there every day." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, good idea."
Didn't think about
It's like
that.
he had a great idea to get them, but then not to use them in your social media was like kind of a big miss. And so a lot of times what the salespeople miss is that storytelling part of it, right? One I did when we're building Social Grenade, I was beta testing with some salespeople, and I did this one post, and I know people may agree and may not agree. I don't really care. This is what I study all day, every day. I just really don't give two shits.
I love you.
However, so I was like, I said, there's tribes of people, right? We all have our own little tribe of people that follow us. And as a salesperson, you need to create what your tribe is. And so I told one of my salespeople, I made him this beautiful graphic, and it was like this muscular tattooed guy's arm, and it had this beautiful tattoo on it. And I used this beautiful old English font, and it said, "Show me your ink." And I said, "Phil,
Oh, cool.
I need you to post this. And here's the caption you're going to put on it." And it'll say, "Hey, thinking about getting my first tattoo. I don't have one yet, but drop me a picture of your ink down below and tag your tattoo guy in this because I don't know who I'm going to use." Right.
Yeah.
And so, like within minutes, like there's 40 comments, and I'm texting him the entire time because I'm watching it blow up. And I'm like, "Comment back to every one of them, comment back to
Yep.
every comment. I need you to respond to everyone." And like before long, there was like 80 comments, right? That have gone on this post, like just in a matter of hours. And I said, "Okay, now it was close to the end of the day. I need you to go out and take a picture of the hottest, freshest trade that you guys have right now. And I need you to post it because now you've got the machine humming, right? Now I need you to post it." And so he put, I think it was like a 2021 Camaro.
Okay.
And I said, "This is the caption that will go in there. Hey, this just got here, and I need to know what you guys think is a fair monthly payment for this vehicle. Drop me below what you think you could afford for this vehicle." And like those comments are just going right. And like probably the fourth comment down was some lady going, "Phil, what's the price of this? I need to know what the price of this is." And he's like, "I'm going to message you right now." And this other lady said, "Do you think like for under $600 I could afford that?" He had two leads right off the bat just from that one day of "Show me your ink," because he's building a tribe of people that were having a conversation that tripped the algorithm to push his content into more people than were just following him. And then whenever he posted what he wanted them to see, so first we post what they want to see, and then he posted what he wanted them to see, then he had two leads in that in one day. And that's what organic social can do for salespeople if they're using the machine right.
There's so much to unpack there. And no joke, I was just talking to my sister-in-law recently over this past week, and she just got her first tattoos under her second tattoo. We're just talking different things about this, and so it's funny you bring that up because we were like, okay, so if I ever got a tattoo, what would I get? I went down, I was like, I already kind of have in my mind what I'd get if I ever got one. But to your point on the other part is like we've talked about a few times that we get so caught up in some management and C-suite's mind that it's leads, leads, leads. Like, no, do you understand that how this had to happen first? And
Mhm.
where that lead, if you will, didn't come through the CRM. No, it didn't. It came through comments and engaging with that. So it's like, it always drives me bonkers when you look at that because you want to stay top of mind. You want to be, hey, when I think about buying a car, I look at go service a vehicle, what I need the brakes or whatever. I know ABC dealership is their top of mind. And that's, we really have got to get away from trying to, oh, what's the ROI on it? Well, you just got 160 people commenting and you got potentially 2 sales out of it. I think that's a pretty good ROI considering it's organic social. So that does lead me down. If you're going down, what was that?
Those same people will like go, "Oh yeah, but did you know what on my blah blah blah? I got so many impressions. Like I'm
Uh,
buying this many impressions or blah 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 on my radio or my TV or whatever." I'm like, but you can't even attribute that. There is no attribution. We can chase a funnel all the way back on social, like
yeah.
literally, even offline tracking. We can come in and go, well, we were part of it. We may not have been the end piece of it, but they were served up an ad right here, and then eventually they bought a vehicle. So it was part of the attribution. Can you do that with a TV commercial? Not unless you have like a Google number in there somewhere.
Yeah, or you've got the QR code. And that's the thing, like, and it is. Don't there are I definitely know a lot of dealerships that swear by radio and it works for them, or they feel it works for them. We'll put it that way. Certain markets do work very, very well. And I get that's the same thing like the billboards. Like for me, billboards, not especially like you live in Chicago, it's a little different. There's a big dealership group up in Wisconsin, and they own like every billboard in the entire city. Okay, a little different. Like as soon as you cross the thing, like it's you just see the dealership's name. I get that, but if you're just randomly buying a one-off billboard, how are you tracking the ROI on that? Like, that's really difficult. I'm not saying that's bad. It's the same thing as I've told the story before. I went to a Cadillac dealership and they were like all over newspaper. And I was like, really newspaper? Like, what am I missing here? And he's like, Brooke, walk out into the waiting room. What do you see? And then like the average age is like 90 with auction tanks. And I was like, okay, I get it now. So understand how are you tracking this and how not just from a data standpoint, because some stuff can't be tracked back to data. Like understand, it's like the lead situation again. So what does success look like for you? Is the success look like, oh, we got more eyeballs on it? Oh, we drove more traffic to the whatever page it may be? Or I just keep you warm and fuzzy inside because we've done this for the last 20,000 years. Is that why you do it? I don't know about that,
But
but
if there's a strategy behind it, even on the radio, right? If they have a strategy and they go, this is our
yeah,
strategy and this is what's worked, we can prove that this works because when we turn it off, this is what happens.
mm,
And when
yeah.
we turn it back on, it comes back on. So we know that there's a strategy there. So that's what's important. It's not necessarily that you pick the right one, it's that you pick the strategy that works with everything else that you have going and with your demographic.
Amen. So as we kind of talk about the lead portion, I get that, but I know that the question is going to be asked, even though we've talked about it for the last 17 minutes now. Someone's going to ask like, okay, so well, what do I do to generate those first party leads? Well, okay, go back and watch the first 16 minutes of this, 17 minutes at this point, and that's your answer. But I will ask you about just a very successful campaign. You talked, I think it was Phil. You said earlier that he did the ink. Show me ink. Do you have any other examples of really good, solid campaigns and that generated I don't want to say leads, but generated a lot of traffic that was a positive outcome.
Yeah, for sure. And the funny thing is that it works in any market, right? So it doesn't even have to be automotive. Like I have a friend that has it's called salty sloth, and it's this powdered tea stuff that goes in. It has energy in it, and they mix it up, whatever. And his marketing company was really just targeting like high school students. And I'm like, I said, when I go to your social, I would feel like this is some Kool-Aid drink that's for young kids and it's not for me. And I'm like, you're right across the street from this gym right here. This is where you are. And if it has caffeine in it, so we're going to call it energy, right? It has energy in it and it has 0 calories in it. Why isn't this your first stop, 25% off anybody who shows me their key tag to 24 Fitness and get your energy drink before you go to the gym? Why aren't you hitting those people? Or I just like went through a whole myriad of them, right? But I'm like, the thing is that you have to go, who's my audience and how do I talk to them? for organic social for salespeople, like that's what Social Grenade is built for. We have every guru out there preaching, hey, your salespeople now need to be bringing this many leads to the table of their own first party leads that they're generating, blah, blah, blah. And in the old days, what we did is we gave them a yellow legal pad and we went, make a list of all people that you know, love, and trust, and get their phone numbers on here and beat those phones to death, right? And so, but we don't do business like that anymore. We all communicate via social. And I always tell this story about Adam Marburger, and I felt like I knew our Adam for years, right? And literally, like we communicate back and forth. I'd message him, we'd text, we did blah blah blah, and I didn't realize that I had never met him face to face until I was at an automotive conference because I didn't realize he was that tall. And that's how I knew that I had never met him face to face. Otherwise, I would have never known that. Like I would just, it was just crazy to me. And so that's how we live our lives now. So for salespeople on social, um, first of all, you don't want to just be, if you're just posting cars and you're just posting sold customers, the only people that are liking your posts are your mom or your wife, one of the two. That's it.
Yes.
And you're really missing an opportunity, right? So to get into my news feed, you're going to have to serve up something that's interesting to me. Now, it used to be that Facebook would serve up anything to me. If I'd followed a page or if I'd interacted with a page, then I would have triggered something that said, yes, I'm interested in the content they put out. Since TikTok is interest based, right? We know that they're interest based. Their algorithm is what are you interested in? Just literally pull up like one 911 call and see if all the rest of your news feed is at 911 calls, right? And so it's interest based. So I've showed it by either slowing down or watching a video or stopping on. That is enough activity for them to register my interest in something. It used to be, did I like it? Did I comment? Did I share it? And now it's, did I slow down? How long did I slow down? Did I watch it or did I stop on it? And that's enough to trigger that that's my interest. Okay. And so Facebook is incorporating interest based algorithms also. And so you're going to start seeing that more and more. So you're going to have to be interesting. How about that? You're going to have to be interesting and you're going to have to get me to engage with you. And that may be, something as silly as a Coke versus Pepsi. Which one do you choose? Everyone wants their opinion heard. Coke sucks unless you have rum, Pepsi all the way, whatever it is they want to argue about, right? Um, and so if you're not doing something to engage me and entice me to play with you, then I'm not going to see any of your content, right? And you want me to see your content. You want to serve me up something that I want to play with, and then you want to serve me up the thing that you want me to see. And so the strategy behind it has to be that you have to be like constantly thinking. So we've loaded the Social Grenade app up with engaging content in there. They can literally go to the app, click engagement on there, pick whatever one of the graphics they want and say share it to Facebook. The text comes over, everything comes over with it. And now you've got that checked off the box for the day. And now your new text message that you get tomorrow from us at Social Grenade may be, hey, today's a great day to go do a walk around video of a white SUV. Go do that today. Do a walk around video and post that today because we've already baited the algorithm yesterday with the engaging post.
And engagement is like so key. Like on so many different levels. I was reading some article a couple weeks ago about LinkedIn and how LinkedIn. Well, I think you and I have a very similar. In fact, I think we both post about it. It costs nothing to like a friend's post, to comment on a friend's post, and with LinkedIn, they've like I said, it was like a couple weeks ago, and it's not so much about liking the content anymore. It's the comments. So LinkedIn, if more or less, the algorithm is going to give you more
Mhm.
positive results if you comment. So for those that are like, hey, I'm just trying to help you out, I'm liking it, understand that the platforms are a little different. And if you can comment on someone's post, that is actually going to trigger more and have more weight to it than a thumbs up or any of the
So I used to
other
weight it. I used to equate it to money, right? So a like is worth 25 cents, a comment is worth 50 cents, and a share is worth $1.
yeah.
So that's really kind of how it's weighted out in the social media world. So like you want to do the best, like share it.
Yep.
That's going to help it more than anything because if you're doing that for a friend, right, is share that post because it's going to get into now the people that you're connected with, and that's what we want it to do.
Amen. So talking about this engagement here a little bit is how should salespeople measure the success of social media activities? That's a fun question, I know.
How should they measure the success? They should be like Okay, the ultimate successful car salesperson is sitting at his desk. He's not taking ups and he's looking out the window, watching everybody else up his customers who are going, yeah, I'm here to see Josh. Is Josh here? Like we talked on Facebook. And then he knows he has succeeded because he's driving all of his own traffic and he's not having to chase the up bus. So if you're doing it right, that's how it's going. However, like even marginal success would be like, oh my gosh, I'm stressed out right now because I know there's a bunch of comments on my post and I'm sitting face to face with a customer and I can't reply to all of them right now. Right. That's a good success also, that you have so many notifications in there right now that you need to get back to.
Yeah, that's always a fun one. Like, yeah, and there's been some things going on in my personal life, and so I was like trying to like respond to other stuff that was already going. I was like, it's just gonna have to wait. Like, I'll get to it when I get to it. But
Mhm.
right now, we got to focus on more things. But it is like, I've got some cousins that are very, very big YouTubers. We were talking offline about this, and just like during the same time period, they're like, okay, how do we keep the algorithm happy without shooting ourselves in the foot, but still be able to have the personal stuff going on? So it is like when you have that it's a good problem to have to figure out, okay, when can I respond to these? But please don't just post something and then never respond.
Yeah, and
Because
then
all you're
walk
telling
away.
is that, yeah, that, oh, I don't really care about you. Like, please respond. One, the algorithm also is going to appreciate that. But
Yeah.
so the audience, the community. If you don't, then what all you're telling them is pretty much like, I don't care about you. Like, so why would they ever comment on or like or share your post ever again?
Well, it's like they called you, like you called somebody and they answered, and then you just set the phone down and walked away.
Hmm.
Right? Like, so you called me because you made a social media post. I answered with, "This is cool, blah blah blah. How much is that car?" And then you never came back.
Yep. That's a big fu to your
Yeah.
audience. Like, please don't do that.
And it's same with if you're messaging someone, like if you're
Oh,
in Messenger with someone and they're asking you questions and you're answering, and then you get caught up with a customer, just take just a second and go, "Give me just a second," and then go back into them and go, "Hey, I'm with a customer right now. It's going to be a little bit before I get back with you," because you don't want them going, "I don't know where this guy went," and then they're going to go to the next social media person that they find that sells cars and then have a conversation with them.
yeah, that's a and I have that conversation so often. I'm like, hey, if Facebook customers are different for a lot of reasons, but also if they're chatting in any sort of way, but especially in Messenger,
Mm.
you have like a millisecond to get back to them, and then they're on to something else. So please make sure if you can't get back immediately, let them know. I mean, that kind of rolls into my next question about trust and transparency and everything in between. But when you're looking at all this, how can you explore how organic social media can be a tool for the obviously the automotive salesperson to not only enhance transparency, but actively build and reinforce trust with their audience?
So for sure, right? So the last time that before I was in automotive and I bought a vehicle, I'll just give you my experience. So I went to the dealership because I knew what brand that I wanted, and I was greeted at the on the lot by someone. I didn't know them, and I didn't know whether they had worked there for 5 minutes or 5 years or 500 years. I didn't know anything about them, but they were the person that came out to greet me, right? And so we all have our walls up around car sales anyways. And so I got the vehicle I wanted for the payment I wanted for the down payment. I got the amount I wanted for my trade, and I still didn't feel like I don't know if I got a good deal. I don't know if this I you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know because I didn't have any relationship with that person. The coolest thing about social media and car salespeople is that they get to build that know like trust online. So when those people come in, it's warm now. Like they've already had a conversation with them. That person has already revealed stuff to them. Like, I don't know, I had a divorce 2 years ago and my credit's a little iffy right now. And then if they're replying properly, they're like going, you know what? I helped several people like you just last month and we were able to get them driving in a newer vehicle and they're so happy. So I have experience with what you're going through and we have some great lenders to help with that. And so if they're doing that and they're taking away the fears and then they're going back in with another question going, do you have a vehicle to trade in? They're having that conversation just like if they were in a BDC, but they're building the relationship with them. And then it may be like they may say that I need an SUV for car seats, and then your reply is, oh my gosh, how many kids do you have? Now you're building more relationship with them, not how many seats do you need? How many kids do you have? Great. What are their ages? Oh my gosh, I bet that's busy. I bet you're a busy time in your life. And you're literally starting a relationship with them. You're being social. And that's what's so important. So now when they show up, they feel like they know something about you, you know something about them. And they're coming to look for someone instead of like the 20 salespeople that are there to greet them. They know Josh is going to come out and greet me, and he and I have already had a conversation. I don't want to talk to you, sir, because Josh already knows my story.
And as our mutual friend Larry Feldman always tells a story, like when he's training, like, hey, if someone's like, oh, I gotta go to my daughter or son's soccer practice, instead of saying, okay, so when will you be back? It's like, oh, really? What position does he or she play? Oh,
Right.
great. What team is it on? The minute, because like you'd want the same thing. It's a human experience, and when you make it that human experience, you've taken down that wall of I trust you as much as a politician. Like, oh, you're an actual human. I can interact you and have a conversation. And that sets me apart from everybody else that's playing the same game of let's just see you as a number and attack you the minute you walk through the door.
Right, and the cool thing about that too is that if the salespeople are using their social right, they're also revealing stuff about themselves, right? That people are going to, whether they've even talked to them yet or not, they're already forming an alliance, whether they like them or not, right? So if they are coaching their kids' little league team and that's on their social media, and I get to go investigate that about you and go, oh my gosh, he's a girl dad and he coaches his daughter's softball team, blah blah blah, right? Like now, like or he has a dog. Oh, he can't be a jerk. He has a dog, he's a dog man. He's a dog
Mhm.
person, blah, blah, blah. And so, as long as you're revealing these things as salespeople, don't worry about keeping it so business, right? Because people are doing business with people.
Mhm.
That's what they want to do is do business with people. So, who are you as a person? I mean, if you're a jerk, don't show that part of it,
Yeah.
but just show
Just
that
don't be on social media at that point.
please. And I would probably always say, as everybody would say, your mama, your grandma, your uncle, everybody's going to tell you if you could avoid politics and religion or
Oh,
any cultural
yes.
things that are going on, really, nobody was ever convinced via social media to change their mind. And I don't care what anybody says, it has never happened. And it's just really an argument waiting to happen. And you're waiting to divide the people who are following you in half.
50% of people are not gonna minimum 50% of people are not gonna like what you have to say, and you will lose business over it. Stay away from it. Please stay away from it.
It's toxic. It's just toxic to your business. And if you're willing to risk 50% of your business, if you're normally a 20 car a month sales guy and you're like, I'm okay with 10 as long as I can have my opinion. Okay, fine, then do it. Your wallet is thick enough to say whatever you want.
Yeah, I would love to have that problem. Like, yeah, I can throw away money. I'm fine with that. That'd be great. All right. So obviously the show goes live on Fridays at noon, every Friday, except when we're off, but we're usually on, it's all live stream. So live stream has really become more and more popular. What tips do you have to offer to the audience about hosting live sessions that can effectively engage viewers and potentially convert them into I won't say leads, but into sales?
Yeah. So, first of all, know what you're going to talk about. Have that planned out ahead of time. Don't just be like, hey guys. And if somebody, here's the deal: if you've already planned on going live at 1 p.m. on Friday and you've announced it, I'm going live 1 p.m. on Friday, and we're going to look at the SUVs on the lot that we have right now. We just got a bunch of third rows in, and I want to show these to all of y'all. I want to walk you through all the features and benefits. If that's what you're going live about, great. Then, first of all, at 1 o'clock, don't be sitting here going, okay, we're going to wait for some more people to get on because now you're disrespecting the people who were there at 1. And they can watch it on the replay. They can catch up for the first part of it on the replay. So, and know what you're going to talk about. If you're going to talk about third row SUVs, have them all unlocked and open and ready to go live and be in them and be showing them. And don't waste my time, because if I showed up at 1 p.m. to see some third row SUVs and you're janking around because you're like, oh my God, Jay, go give me the key to this when it's not even unlocked. Ha 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 ha. Be prepared and don't waste my time.
Unless you're some like celebrity that people are going to stand around and sit around and watch you, it's a little bit different. But I don't think we do have some automotive celebrities, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, we're not Beyonce, we're not Kim
Yeah.
Kardashian, we're not, any of these people that have massive, massive followings. So just get to it. Like, and yeah, I agree. I mean, I know that there's sometimes, let's say you just go live off the cuff, like, hey, there's no planned time, like Thursdays, I do my little Thursday walk and talk. There's no set time. It's just like whenever. So also understand, like, there are multiple times as I had to kind of learn of going live. One, anything that's going to break is going to break the moment you go live. Please understand that. So prep
100%.
beforehand. Like even this is pre-recorded, and my microphone stopped working, and my computer stopped working, and so like things will break, and just breathe. Like, please breathe as you go through this because it's going to break. It's just a matter of time.
It's just real life.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So as we look at these new platforms, all the adapting changes, we've got future coming around. How do you see over the next, we'll say the next few years, what what trends do you see happening over the next couple years, and how can people stay ahead of it?
Well, video is already dominated, and I know that salespeople are a little bit resistant to video. I would say to get used to doing video, first of all, I would do it without your face. So you're just recording something. One of my favorite apps to use, well, I have two, I mean, for this, it's really important. So either Splice or CapCut, and you can walk around video in pieces and stitch it all together, bring all of the audio down, and then do a voiceover on it. And then you can just keep recording that voiceover till you get it right. And that will help you a lot because you're not having to go, oh, I got to film it again because I messed this up, or I got to film this again. Just don't worry about having to talk while you're videoing. Sometimes that's too much at first, right? So video without talking, add the voiceover to it. It's not complicated, I promise. That would be step one at getting comfortable with video, and then move on to um, push yourself further and further and further, right? So video we know is big. As the talks about TikTok going away, if that ever happens, we've seen the other platforms pick up Reels, and even LinkedIn is getting in on the real game. YouTube Shorts got in on the real game because they're all going, hey, if this big audience goes away, we want a place to suck them in and be able to offer them a home for them to put all of the stuff that they're pushing to TikTok right now. So Reels right now, and pay attention to, like, if you post a reel, Facebook or Instagram, any of them will give you a notification and they'll go, hey, your reel got 100 views. Maybe you should post another one. If a platform gives you some tips like that, follow their advice because
Yes.
they're telling you that for a reason. As long as you can follow what Mark Zuckerberg is trying to accomplish, then you will be in his pocket. Like you'll be in the money pocket, right? Because I mean, I could take you all the way back to the days whenever there was not Facebook Live, and there was two apps, one called Meerkat and one called Periscope. And
Mhm.
that's the only way, those were the first two live streaming apps, right? And Mark was busting his ass to get Facebook Live going as fast as he could because these were dominating. And so if you know what Mark's looking for, you can 100% stay in that lane, and then you can ride his coattails to wherever he's taking it. Because if he's wanting, I always liken it to like the casino, right? If you go to a casino on a Wednesday and everybody's winning, right? Like all of the slot machines are loose. They've turned the knobs so that you win more money. And then the weekend it like sucks all your money back out, right? So I liken it like that. Like Mark Zuckerberg has loosened the knobs on reels because he wants more engagement. He wants more reels to be posted because he wants all of that. Back in the day, whenever he first started, most of you guys aren't even old enough to know this. Whenever videos first started on Facebook, you had to click on it to make it move
Make
at
a
first,
move.
right?
Yep.
To make the video play. Then it would play, but the sound wouldn't be on. So you'd have to click it to get the audio, right? And so what he was trying to do was he was trying to take over video views from YouTube. And if you watched a certain amount of seconds on his, that's what he counted as a video view. And I think it was like 3 seconds at
I
the
think,
time.
yeah,
So that
it
he
was.
had the bragging rights to say, you should advertise on my platform because I have more video views than YouTube has, believe it or not. And so at that time, if you were pushing video out, you were wise. And so right now, if I were to say what's coming right now for the salespeople, because they're generally behind the curve a lot, is to create more video and to learn how to do it to be strategic and entertaining, and follow trends. Other than that, AI is what's on the horizon, and you and I both spend so much time every day just learning as much as we can
Yes.
about every freaking AI platform out there.
Like, if anyone went and looked at, Robin and I's, like, DMs back and forth, it's like, "Hey, did you see this part? Did you see that?" Like, that's all that and, like, some, Brooke words, we'll call them, and Robin words back and forth.
Yeah,
That's, like, that's all we said back and forth to each other.
I know. Ever. It's only cuss words and AI.
It's
I found this
so
new app
true.
the other day. I found, and I'm an app whore, like a whore. Like my literally, I'll tell Beverly, I'll tell my business partner, like, I need a new phone because I'm out of space. And she's like, delete some apps. I'm like, nope,
No.
I'm not
No,
deleting them.
that's me in photos.
I found this app the other day that literally took a campaigning politician right now, and he's speaking, and I queued in the script that I wanted him to speak about Social Grenade, and he literally is promoting it, and it's huge. It's really
It's
big.
awesome.
It's the best
It's
ever.
I love it. Absolutely love it. And I will say with the reels, like pay attention to that as well, because it used to be like 60 seconds and you got people's attention. I know now that there are very few of my reels that will go 60 seconds because the attention span is not there. So pay attention to that as well as you're going through that. Yeah, it's a Robin. It has been not that I would expect anything less, but obviously a blast speaking with you. But we are at that point in the show where we are jumping into the lightning round with Robin Wilson. As everyone can see, we got the QR code right below here. Scan this. You can get in touch with her and talk more about Social Grenade and all of her 18 million different founder CEO titles that she has. Those that are listening to podcast land, how can they get a hold of you and how can they get in touch with you?
Really easy. Like you can message me on any social media platform. I am Robin Wilson, and you'll find the blue hair. It's a little faded right now, but it'll be back there again. Or email me, Robin at socialclimberpro.com. But really, social is the best way to get a hold of me. There are
Agreed.
no unread messages in any of my platforms.
That's
None
Yeah,
of
I
them.
have a few that I know that like are a complete like some bot. So like those ones I don't read, but social media, like I will. It might take me a little bit to get back to you sometimes, but I will 100% get back to you. All right. So the name of the show is Facts Not Feelings. How do you distinguish facts from feelings on your daily life, can be personal or in your business life?
Um, well, as an entrepreneur, you know this, I know this. Like there is no personal life. There is only business life. Um,
Yes.
I mean, it just is how it is. Like if I'm not doing it, I'm thinking about it, I'm talking about it, whatever. It is just business. Um, but we are a women-owned company and a women-run company. So all four of our executive leadership team are women. And so this is a great question for us, right? Because it's had to be the thing that we've had to learn. We've had to learn to not have the feelings, right?
Mhm.
Like there'll be times whenever you just want to react to something and with emotion. And I'm also big on law of attraction, right? So I'll be like, mind your feelings, like let's get those under control. But then we'll also go back to what are the facts that pertain to this. Like let's just use an example of a client fires us, right? Let's just say that happens, right? And as women, we're like, oh my God, what did we do wrong? What happened? Blah blah blah. Where did we fail? And so we learned to get to the point where we would I would let them feel it for one day. I'm like, you're allowed to mourn the loss of this for one day. And then we go back and go, okay, now let's look at the facts. Where did we drop the ball? Where could we have been better? Where could we have served our client? Where was there just no hope and they weren't a good fit and we shouldn't have taken them anyways? Right. And let's just look at the facts of it. And then we're not allowed to feel it anymore. So the facts are so good for me because they take all of the emotion out of it. And the emotion doesn't do anything for me, like
Mhm.
literally does nothing for me. So if we can strip that back as women owned business, it's so important for us.
Amen. Yeah, it's yeah, I just amen to all that. It's 100% true, and I will hope that those are listening, especially as female and being a boss babe, being whatever. Even if you're like, hey, I just got into an industry, please take that to heart. Like,
Mhm.
please, like, just strip the feelings out of it. But obviously, why the name of the show there. All right, let's round it out with what is one thing that most people wouldn't know about you.
Probably that I'm 60 and I'm straight. Um, I know that sounds hysterical, but I for years I would introduce Beverly as my partner. Like we'd be at things and I'd go, "This is my partner
Oh
Beverly,"
no.
da, da, blah blah blah, and I didn't know I had to say the word business partner, and so it was hysterical. My husband was working in Alaska and he came home and I made this social media post about him being home, blah 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 blah. And our good friend Bobby Heron was like, I saw her at a Women in Automotive conference and she's like, "Good for you," and I'm like, "What?" She goes, "You have a husband and a side chick?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Beverly, is it Beverly?" Like, I'm like, "She's my business partner." No, I don't even like blondes. I'm like, and so that's a real thing. Like, if you have a ton of like masculine energy and you have short hair, like it just is an assumption that goes with it. And so those are probably the two things that most people don't know, that I am 60 and I am straight.
So, for those about the show, like, I saw these questions beforehand, and I'd get the response, and I'm just like, I literally busting up laughing over here. I was like, "Is really?" It's like, oh my god, this is the best answer ever, by the way.
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that
Yeah,
that's just how, right? I was on a call with on a demo call with somebody one time, and he had met me face to face, and we'd had a whole conversation, whatever. And on this call, he was like, I know you, Robin. You're probably like, you probably drive a Subaru and eat the granola and do the blah blah blah. I'm like,
No.
nope.
Nope.
I'm married to a man, and I drive a Jeep. Um,
No. Nope. And I love my Jeep actually.
that's
Oh,
funny.
too much. And I bet none of you thought that the lightning round was going to go that way, but that is where it went today. So we're all for it actually. But Robin, once again, thank you so much for being a part of this. Those that don't know, please get in touch with her. One, she's an amazing human being. She has a wealth of knowledge. She's been doing this for a hot minute. She's, like I said, listed off the accolades beforehand, and your newest product, Social Grenade, which is just killing it right now. So love everything about that. With that, everyone, you all know the drill. Find a way to serve today. Find a way just to make someone's day, make them smile, be the joy in their life. It can be opening a car door, it can be a kind smile. Just do something to better someone's life today. And with that, everyone, we will talk and see you all next week.